everybody. Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations and Conversations. I'm your host, Dominique Lovings, aka St. Angeles, aka Tender Lovins, aka Buttercream, depending on who you talking to. We are back with an amazing, phenomenal episode. We will have two guests tonight. We're waiting for the other one to pull up. But if you are watching, you've seen that beautiful face before. That is my amazing friend, Mr. CJ Conrad. What it do, baby boo?
Hey, what's up? I ain't got no aliases for you. I'm just that nigga from Ferguson.
Okay. I don't think I've ever heard you say the N word, so I'm just taking it in for a second.
That's so funny. Okay, I
I
keep
was like,
forgetting.
oh wow.
Yeah, you see me be professional. I'm sorry.
That is
My bad.
true. That is true. You want to know one of the funniest things, guys, is Curtis and I went to university together. That sounds so British. University together.
Uni.
And so at one point he, attended, then it switched because then he became what? Okay, what was that role when you was in MCISA?
Let-
Because it wasn't like you were an advisor.
No, it was at that time I think like a program coordinator.
Okay.
And then I left and I came back, and that time I was the interim assistant director, but at both times it was with the Multicultural Center.
Yes.
Um,
So that is how I know this beautiful species right here. And it's funny because we bonded, if you listen to our previous episodes, over music. So it was only right that I bring him back to discuss, a little bit of music. The last time we talked about Beyonce
yes.
and, might have cried a little bit and might have talked about a little bit of the politics regarding Ferguson. But I want to play a clip for you that has picked up some traction, and you'll see why you're here today. Have we seen the last of our superstars? Like, is Taylor Swift the last superstar? Is Beyonce the last superstar? There's nobody right now that has a
Ooh.
career like this. There will
Ooh.
be no more Mariah
Ooh.
Carey's, and no more Michael Jackson,
No
not
more
even Chris
Prince.
Brown. And there will never be another Usher. And the reason I say that is because the system has changed. It shifted so much. Like you said, it takes nothing for somebody to hit on the algorithm. They'll be relevant, they'll put out stuff, but it'll be somebody else that'll come right behind them and do it the next day. All right.
Yep. And the funny thing is, I actually saw that short on YouTube. I think probably
Really?
the day you dropped it, and I was like, "Yeah, I kind of agree with you."
Ah, you know, we talk about so many different things, and it's funny because a lot of the comments that, like, there's some Gen Yers or Zers in there
Mm,
that are like, you have Charlie XEX, you got Billie Eilish, but they're not understanding and grasping the bigger picture. We come from a generation where there's full on artist development,
hmm.
which Beyonce was developed into Beyonce. Taylor
Yes.
Swift was developed into Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
And Usher was developed, by his mother. Usher, it was at one point, I remember when it's not that his career was even stagnant. It was like a series of albums where I was just like, interesting, interesting. But I
Hmm.
was like, there was nothing like Usher in 2004, 2005, where there's a formula behind that success, which is a lot of that probably, likely goes to his mother, spearheading and managing his career.
Hmm.
But you could not, I mean, the moment Yeah dropped, they did not allow us to get Yeah out of our system before dropping Confessions.
Hmm.
Then from there, you got Let It Burn. All, you know what I mean. Then he went
Hmm.
back, and then it was like Rhythm City, and did all these extra things. And
Hmm.
so we don't get that from artists anymore. And
Hmm.
I think that's what people need to hone in on and understand. That's what we're saying.
Hmm. You know what? This is kind of a multi-layered conversation, and when you first brought this up to me, I thought I had an answer, and then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, there's so many different ways you can look at this. I
Mhm,
think the A&R thing is a very real thing, but I
mhm.
also think that the market fragmentation, I'm sounding way too analytical, but
No, that's why you're here.
oh, okay. So I'm supposed to be subject matter expert. Okay, but the
Yes.
market fragmentation is very real now. It's like back in like the '80s, the '90s, even the early 2000s. We had radio. We had videos. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was plugged into the exact same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it was like no matter where you were in the country, you were still hearing the same thing on
Hmm.
some level. And now with the internet, with social media, with algorithms, everything is so catered to you. So you become a like a micro niche. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you hear things, you see things, and probably your friends see things, but that doesn't mean everybody else sees it.
Mm.
Somebody was saying that like in the last 3 or 4 years, there really hasn't been a song of the summer because everybody is in a different place musically.
Yeah.
Whereas at one point in time, radio made sure everybody heard the same song. You know what I mean?
You want to know what's funny? I feel this is going to sound crazy. I think the last song of the summer, Chris Brown, No Guidance,
Mm,
2019.
mm,
And I only say that, and I think that song had probably already been out a little bit prior to that.
mm,
But then it just went over because
mm.
also we have to realize that the pandemic did change a lot of different things in the way that we consume and
Very
operate. So
much.
we feel like we lost kind of like 3 or 4 years where we feel like we're now experiencing a level of normalcy.
Hmm.
Because think of the people that were putting out music during, okay, outside of Beyonce, so that's a lie. I could say, what is this one? To you. Oh, yeah. What's we wait? We all forgot the name.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that song
Uh,
was kind of big, but I don't. I really believe I'm interested in seeing like how we go over this and break it down because
mhm,
it's interesting, and we'll get to that point because you were saying how everybody felt like there wasn't a song of the summer,
mhm,
and like who are they connecting to? Because I had been feeling the type of way about a song in particular this year
mhm,
that I was like, I cannot be the only person that feels like this because
mhm,
I'm listening to Anita Baker. And then once that album goes off and
mhm,
Spotify generates a station,
mhm,
this person doesn't fall into that category.
mhm,
Um, I'm listening to rap. Album goes off. That person doesn't fall into this category. So it's kind of like we're seeing a resurgence of uh payola again.
it seems like it does seem like.
Because there's certain people just like I think that also the other interesting thing is how people are just putting out albums without any sort of
Rollout, as the kids call it.
rollout.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you, and that's the funny thing too. Like being on social media now, everybody thinks they're an A&R exec. So everyone's talking about the rollout and the marketing of albums, and I'm like, what happened to y'all just being fans? I'm so confused by it. Um, but yeah, I would have to agree with you that there have been quite a few albums that kind of just popped up on Apple Music, and it's just like, oh, it's out, okay. Because I'm gonna say Chloe's album, I had no idea she was even working on something, and then it
Me
was
neither.
like, hey guys, by the way, and I was like, okay. And my thing is that's crazy because this album I think is far superior to her first one. It's like why would you not promote this?
But that goes back to, okay, the whole artist development, that the rollout, all of that is included in that. And
Hmm.
so I was just confused as you were. But we've spoken about Chloe before.
Yeah.
I believe we both believe that she's a powerhouse vocalist, but it's
Mhm.
also like, what are these songs? Because then
Yes.
Hallie dropped a song one single was kind of like the Angel song was, melodic,
Hmm.
and that was cute. And then this other song, I immediately was like, what is this? What are
Yeah.
we doing here?
I I feel like they're testing the waters as solo artists. Like they're not quite sure what they want to give their audience yet. So they're kind of just throwing out a little bit of any and everything to see what's gonna stick. And I think that's weird though, because when you look at it like that, it seems like Chloe would have came harder after her first single, and it was like when her album came, it was like it felt like it was way more pop oriented. When like the first single or two felt more like she was gonna go like heavy R&B, and it was like
Is this the first go round? The
yeah,
first
the first
album?
go round, the first go
Well,
round,
I also was irritated that none of the songs that she had released were on that album.
also.
And so that creates a layer of customer confusion. We're going to get into
Mhm.
some media law here, where we're like, okay, we've been waiting for you to drop this project. You've been dropping
Mhm.
all of these singles that are pretty solid. I know a lot of people didn't receive the first single that well. People were,
Mhm.
like, okay, I was expecting more vocals.
Mhm.
She's like a little more subdued, vocally, not
Right,
visually. But
right.
then Treat Me comes out
Mhm.
visually amazing, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, okay, you are really going to come at us heavy.
Mhm.
No. And then it just kind of was like, kind of like, not
Meh.
that it plateaued, but it was like kind of like the Day No Ma a little bit, where it levels off, and it's just like, well, what are we doing here? And then,
Mhm.
but I told you, I said, hey, to be quite honest, even for them, I feel like they should have did at least one or two more albums together. I think they broke up too soon,
Yeah, I would agree very
because
much.
cohesively that sound
Mhm.
together is such a unique sound, and separate
Exactly.
is
And that's
falling
and
flat.
I think I had even go back to their very first album too, and I was like, yeah, they really complement each other. And it's like when you take those things apart, it's like, okay, so how does either stand alone? Because
Yeah,
they both undergird each other in the weak places. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so without it, it's like the weak places become very, very apparent.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, yeah, no, that is absolutely real, and I think that even when we talk about music in the retrospective, why I said is Taylor Swift our last big superstar,
mhm.
is I don't foresee like Taylor Swift, Taylor mania. I don't Swifty mania. I don't.
Mhm.
Yeah, Swift. The Swifties are almost they're almost. I think they're locked in almost as much as the Beehive is locked in. And Taylor
Mhm.
Swift ain't even selling them nothing outside of music. Like
Agreed.
like Stacey sent me a TikTok when I first approached her about this. And it was a TikTok, and it was all of these girls, like they were in Australia. It was TikTok Australia, and
Mhm.
all of them, they were at some university, did some level of their dissertation or something about Taylor Swift.
Mhm.
I don't see that happening with Billie Eilish, and that's no shade to her.
Mhm.
I don't see that happening with Sabrina Carpenter,
Mhm.
or I don't even know in the male category who there is outside of Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Still, Harry Styles still comes from a different generation, like a different era, where he was in one direction for a period of time, and then they broke
Mhm.
off and did their own thing.
Right. But I'm kind of stuck, and that's kind of what when you first posed the question of is Taylor the last pop star? Have we seen the last pop star? I had to start thinking to myself, well, what defines a pop star? What makes a pop
Yeah,
star a pop star? And I think the thing about Taylor and Beyonce, and I'll even throw Adele into the pot, is that there's a level of longevity. I think
hmm
that kind of has to be there for to be on that level.
yeah,
I don't think anyone comes out the gate like that anymore. I think you have to grow to it. Um, And I was thinking to myself actually when you said that, I'm like, well, who is even like on that or could be on that? And I oddly Megan came up in my mind. I was like, Megan Thee Stallion, I feel like has the potential to be on that wave, only because she's not just doing music. Like you were saying with Beyonce, she's everywhere. I kind of feel like the same way about Megan. She shows up in She-Hulk on Marvel
Yes.
and Disney.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what other artists do you know is popping up in cameos in TV shows and movies? I'm like, I feel like, and she did that the Amazon campaign, the Amazon Prime Day campaign, and she does a whole bunch of other stuff like that. And to me, I'm like, there's a likability to her that I think transcends the music.
Yeah.
So in that way, I feel like she has the potential of becoming like Taylor and like Beyonce because people just like her.
Yeah. And also she's an Aquarius. So February one too. Yes, girl,
Mm-hmm.
get it. But I can see that for sure. I think that people I think the people that really don't even really gravitate or that say certain things about her, we're seeing her morph. And I think the people that have a problem or are they just I think at this point you're just kind of a hater, because the really cool thing what's happening with Megan is that we're seeing her hit that space where I'm doing what I want to do. I'm rapping what I want to, because
Mm-hmm.
she's heavy in anime. Her collaborated with like a lot of Japanese artists or
Yeah.
whatever, and that's kind of, it's not that it's unprecedented. It's just that we have never seen it happen that fast on a, I'm not only gonna say like on a grand scale, because we know how it used to be. Like that first album is definitely the label. You might get some say so on that second album, but it's still the
Mm-hmm.
label. And it really be like the third and fourth album where you really see a person really kind of come out of that cocoon and really morph into whatever it is that they want to be. I think with Megan, I think you are absolutely correct. Is that we are going to see her kind of be more in her marketing bag a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what Cardi B did.
Yeah.
Like Cardi B found her, like found her lane, and it stays there. Really don't do too much. Try to okay. Tries not to give people problems, but she's still a little. She's still a little too. Maybe she's still because she's still kind of young, so maybe she's still a little too close to the strip club.
Well, you know what?
Like,
I think with Cardi, I think some of it is about maturity. I feel like
yeah,
he's slowly getting to that point where it's like what y'all have to say about me doesn't matter. Because
yeah,
at one point in time, she would clap back at every and anything that came at her, and I
yeah,
feel like she's now getting to the point where it's like I'm just living my life. Y'all
yeah.
don't none of y'all make the money I make. Don't none of y'all get the deals I make. So why does it matter what you think? And
Right.
so I feel like she's getting to that point. And when you also when you had mentioned like what was the last good song of like the last song of the summer for you, uh, for me it was Bodak Yellow because I remember that summer.
That was a fun summer.
And I think, and again, that was all before the pandemic. But when I tell you, I couldn't go out without hearing Bodak Yellow, and to
Mhm.
me, that was like that felt like the last like universal song of the summer. Like I couldn't go to a wedding without hearing it. I couldn't go to a club without hearing it. I couldn't nowhere.
And her rollout was really solid because
Mm-hmm.
after that, then you had I Like It, and the album. Honestly, that album had no skips,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, that's kind of like unheard of for a debut album. Unless
True.
I feel like for men that they have theirs might be sometimes a little more solid, but
Mm-hmm.
hers had no skips. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if we're about to see another Lauren Hill situation where she's going to be able to ride that
See.
album.
And that's what I was thinking to myself. It's like part of me wonders how long they cooked that album, like how long they really sat in the studio. Because I will agree it was a solid one, and she hasn't done it yet since. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? It's like she's still
yeah,
eating off of it now. Don't get it twisted. She's still eating off of it, but at the same time, it's like, well, where's the sophomore project, man?
yeah. And I think what happened, I, I think she has been a lot of people that whatever happened during COVID, I don't know because Up was pretty good. Then she
Mhm.
has other stuff, but we're seeing her be this really dope feature artist, which is
Mhm.
a good thing, but a bad thing because like it's like she is taking songs like what's the Tomorrow,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like, okay, so but then that speaks to okay, we are aware, and it's not like she ever was, very quiet about it. I'm not a writer. I'm a
Mhm.
performer, that happens to enjoy this genre of music. I'm a rapper, and I
Mhm.
don't rap. I'm not a lyricist. Like, there's a difference between
Mhm.
somebody that's a rapper and a lyricist,
Sure.
and I think that a lot of people mainly some people other people we ain't gonna because I ain't getting that in my comments. Y'all not about to come for me because I definitely ain't sending for y'all. um that were just kind of giving her grief about that, but I was like, hey, there's a layer of transparency that Cardi gives us that makes us feel relatable while we buy into it. And
Mhm.
again, I don't see that with any of these other artists.
Yeah. I would
There's
agree. I again, there's so many parts
it's
and
layers.
aspects that come into play on that, and so to me, at this point in the game,
Hmm.
it feels like if for it to happen, a lot of things will have to be at the right place at the right time, and I don't see it. I don't see it like that for real. Not for nobody for real. Like when you had mentioned Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish, and I was even thinking about Chapel Roan. I was like, Chapel Roan kind of just quote unquote came out of nowhere, but if you know her story, she actually been doing this for a while, and she's just now coming into prominence. But even with that, it's still not like this like broad spread like success. It still seems like that she has a very specific audience to me.
Yeah. Yeah. But see, but also when we think about when we're looking at the artistry as a whole, and I was trying to explain to the people in the audience regarding, in the comments about that clip, I was telling them that, hey, there's a layer where you guys just don't get it. I don't foresee people passing out in the streets, blocking
Oh,
traffic, uh,
that'll never happen again.
to see anybody anymore.
Mm-mm.
There's a layer of like when you think about Michael Jackson, um, like that's what was happening. And I was talking to somebody about this, that has dealings in the industry or whatever,
Mhm.
and just trying to pick his brain because he's much older than us, like
Mhm.
like 20 something years older than us. And this
Mhm.
person is talking about, oh well, Travis Scott just sold out. I said, I am not talking about Travis Scott. I'm not talking about, I say he's already a star. He
Mhm.
already did the groundwork, festival, like
Mhm.
county fairs and stuff. So he's already, because he's already been here for a while, he's not included in the conversation. He is a big star. But I'm saying these new people, I think that
Mhm.
there are some people that have star power,
Mhm.
but when I say superstar, I mean, again, hell, even we could go back to a Travis Scott.
Mhm.
No, I don't think that anybody, because of how the game is now set up, and the labels, even the labels are buying into the quickness.
Yes.
Like I said, y'all cranking out because it's going to be somebody whose song hits on TikTok and you calling, and then you're like, oh, we want to give you a single deal because
Mhm.
that's what they've been
They do
doing.
now. Yep. And to kind of to elaborate on that, somebody else. I'm trying to think. Oh, I was listening to who was Avery Wilson, I believe is that his
Mhm.
name. he was on a podcast talking about this. He was like, now a lot of managers, a lot of PR people, they jump on the next viral thing. They just jump on it because they're trying to get quick money rather
Hmm.
than trying to get long money. And
Yep.
that is the problem. It's like anybody can go viral. You were saying on your clip, anybody can go viral. And once you go viral, yeah, people buy in, but they buy in for like a few weeks, a month, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Nobody who went viral has had a lasting career for real. I can't think of anybody. Maybe what, Justin Bieber, maybe. I mean, I'm trying to think
But
who.
you have to think Justin Bieber was even before that.
Mm,
If you really, when you break down his career, he was because what was he discovered by what Scooter Braun, and then they brought him to Usher or
I
whatever it
believe that
was.
that's the
I can't
story.
remember how that goes. Um, Maybe shouldn't say all those names in the same sentence because that could be a little problematic. But like, and speaking of, it's just like the so when we look about at top sell, speaking of Scooter Braun and music,
Hmm.
for Taylor Swift to have to go back and re-record all her albums because of that weird motherfucker not give her shit. She has the money, give it to her. And those have been like the top charting albums this year.
Mm,
So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, even when we look at things like that, we did there wasn't I think what was that last summer there wasn't a rap song at one point at some point this year there wasn't a rap song on the top 10
yeah.
of Billboard's catalog on the Hot
Hmm.
100,
Yeah.
which that hasn't been a thing pretty much since its inception, for real. Once when I say inception, y'all, I mean inception of like hip hop, rap,
Mm,
or whatever. And so that's when you even when you go to streaming artists, like the top 10 streaming artists of this year,
hmm.
like I said, it's still Drake, The Weeknd, Beyonce, Adele, Taylor Swift. What are we talking about? Like all these other people that people want to bring to the
Hmm.
forefront, I'm like, what? No, they're likable, and that's somebody you subscribe to. We're talking about it as a whole.
Yeah. And I will say this, going back to what you were saying as far as the industry being different and how they capitalize off things, they also capitalize off the blockbusters, the folks that they know make money.
Yep.
And I think that's a big problem too, that they don't invest in anybody unless they already have proven that they can pull in money.
Oh
So
yeah, I never
yes,
thought about it like that.
but that is what it is. Beyonce can get whatever she wants because they know she's gonna pull it in. Taylor can do whatever she wants because they know she's gonna pull in money. And like you said, Drake, you can name off those people, and they don't even have to put anything out like the last year. People will still be buying the old
Yep.
catalog. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And so because they know that, and most of these executives first don't have any kind of background in music. That's the most frustrating thing to me as an artist. At one point in time, record executives actually loved music and they actually had a background in music, and so they could see an artist who was still in the rough stages and be like, "Oh, I can make you into something." Now
Hmm.
it's just like, "Oh, she pretty and she got a follower count, so yeah, throw her on, and we'll give her the bare minimum as far as budget. We'll give her the bare minimum as far as all that stuff, and just expect to get all our money back in the 360 recoup,
Yep.
and so they don't put no real thought into it, and everybody comes out cookie cutter. They sound the same, they look the same, they do the same things, and nobody has a real identity. And so yeah, nobody's going to be a superstar because everybody looks the same. I can't tell you, like all these I'm sorry, I hate to say it like that, but I'm like, all these white girls in the VMA, I don't know who they are because they all look and sound the same to me.
And
They
I
all
feel
look
like, yeah, and even in our culture, like, which was like a really interesting thing living in LA,
Mhm.
as like you saw the Kardashian effect happening, and I was
Mhm.
like, wow, nobody, everybody looks the same at the club, at the restaurant, the car. You walk in, you be like, okay, this. it's almost like you're in some weird like sci-fi movie that could
Mhm.
turn into like a horror film.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, I'm in the club, like I've had blonde hair for forever now, and I'm just like, you know, short platinum blonde hair. I don't have a 28-inch weave and all these
Mhm.
things, and people just looking at you, and I'm like, hello, like there's no sort of nobody wants or prides themselves on individualism anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have people like I don't know if you know the artist La Russell.
No, I don't.
Oh my god, he's from the Bay Area.
Mhm.
And he's a rapper, but he's independent. And that
Mhm.
he started doing these concerts in his backyard
Oh wow.
that would sell out. And so and creating just his own lane and space. And
Mhm.
the really dope thing is that he realized that everybody don't have no money. So you can, when he would have these like albums or you could get tickets to the concert, you could put in how much you can pay.
Mm.
So that also makes you kind of relatable because you understand everybody's
Yeah.
circumstances. And he's just been, blowing up from there. There's so many people that are kind of going the more independent route that are like catching on.
Yeah.
It just takes sometimes a little longer for it to
Exactly.
catch.
Mhm.
But that he was even talking about how the labels were coming to him, and it was pretty much similar to like a 360 deal, or it just wasn't, the money wasn't, like nothing compared to what he was doing on his own. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, well, I'm gonna come and deal with y'all, and I'm able to collaborate with all these, like OG rappers and whatnot, and I found my lane, and I have my fans, and so there's nothing more you really can do for me
Mhm.
that I can't do for myself and figure out.
And I think a lot of artists are figuring out, like even people who used to be on labels are like, you know what? I actually have enough of a fan base, and I have enough money of my own. I can do this. I can think of a few artists off the top of my head who've done that, like Ledisi, Layla Hathaway. There's quite a few of them that have just been like, I can just do this myself and keep this money.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, well, well.
It
Who
is
is
he and I
he?
is he.
Look who decided to join us after 33 minutes and
Hey, look here,
56
man. You got
seconds.
a 11-year-old ass homework due. All right, sorry.
You the one that picked this time.
Look here, man. The kid didn't.
Listen, there, you got to get control of that situation. Homework is
No,
going
don't
to
be
be
saying that like.
home.
Don't be having your listeners think I'm like my daughter disagreeing. Like I gotta get it something.
No, listen. Panda run your house, okay? That's her house. She like how we like to think of Curtis, how we think of Blue Ivy running
Oh,
Beyonce.
she runs that house like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, it's a mess.
I mean, ain't nobody gonna fault you for being a good dad now.
No, I
Let's keep
know,
it
I know, but
Yeah.
it can get a little bit where it's like, hey, Daddy, I got homework. It's due tomorrow. Like when since Monday. Oh,
Yep.
Some stuff don't change.
Well,
not at all.
there we were talking about. I played him the clip that you cut up. When
Yep.
I was talking about the like the last superstar, and we are just talking about how the industry has shifted. I want to pose.
It was something he was saying we was coming on, and it was something that I think that the niches is going to be where it is. Is never no one's going. Is that what you were saying, CJ?
Yeah, that's where I started. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Go
like
ahead,
you're gonna.
go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, but the thing is though, is you have to be comfortable as an artist, understanding, knowing I'm only like we talked about Don. I'm doing 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 a show. I'm never going to get 20, 30, 40,000 people a night for my shows. I am a working musician that can tour 30 cities every year and pack out the pageant and the pageant size in every city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And people and 60,000 people come out and stream my album every time I drop something. And if you can be cool with that and comfortable with that and know that like I'm gonna make 300,000-400,000 a year and be straight. My family's gonna be straight. I'm just not going to be this mega star.
Yeah.
But are you comfortable with that? Are you in it for the music? Or are you in it for being a mega star? So then it becomes that kind of debate. And that's, I don't know if he was going there, CJ, but that's what I was thinking.
No, but I mean that's really real. And I've as a musician, I came to that place a long time ago. Like, if I'm just a working class musician, that'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if I hell, I ain't even got to do no 5,000 seater. That's dope if I can. But if you can just keep the work coming to a point where it supports you, that's that for a lot of us. I ain't gonna say for everybody, but for a lot of us, that's enough.
No, seriously. Like I think about like, artists in that realm, and we're getting more artists, like how you always see what Silk or TGT, and
Now
like,
that's two different. Now I don't want to slanderize any of these. I call them Chitlin Circuit acts now, not TGT though, but Silk for sure.
Well,
And there's nothing wrong with that. Being an ensemble three, we got 3 songs. All the groups that's on this tour, we got 3 mega hits, and that's what we gonna do. It's gonna be us, Moke and Steph, Cut Close, Portrait. We're all gonna do our 3 songs. We got and maybe 2 other album tracks. So we doing 5 songs times 4 groups. That's 20 songs. We charging $30, y'all. We getting out of here on the Tupelo, Mississippi next, and that's nothing wrong with that. But I call that just a little bit different of an act. It's like there's levels to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
Like Tony ain't gonna be on tour with 6 other acts.
Real
For
talk.
sure, they're not gonna be on tour.
With Raphael Sadiq now.
Get it together.
Let me put a caveat there. If Raphael Sadiq's in the group though. If he's not in the group, they will be on tour with Silk.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
I mean, that's not an exaggeration. Real talk. It's like because I've seen them without him and I've seen them with him, and I would rather see them with him for real.
Yep, it's a different level of musicality.
Because I just want to see them once together. I thought we was getting somewhere, but clearly not.
I mean, you got that one tour. That was more than I thought we was gonna get, to be honest with you.
Hell, but okay. So this leads me to do we think that the streaming world or realm has changed the face of what we're seeing as far as like these artists and the lack thereof of artist development and all that? Do we think that plays a role in it, or is that the social media aspect that kind of clicks in?
That's a good question.
Yeah, this one is kind of multi-layered. I'm gonna say it to you like this. I feel like in some ways we have access to too many things. We have access to too many things and access to too many people, as far as like going back to what you were saying before, as far as like they'll never be the Michael Jackson where people scream and pass out. Part of the reason why they did that was because he wasn't accessible. The only time you would see him would be on television. So to be in the same room with him is like, oh my God, yes. And now our artists live on our phones. You know what I'm saying? It's like we can see them anytime we want, just about.
And now I think I can be Mike. If it was now, I'd be like, man, I can do that same thing he do, man. Didn't I do that last week? Chris, didn't I do that last week? Didn't I just do Man in the Mirror? I just did Man in the Mirror. Go to my timeline. I just did Man in the Mirror.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is some kind of inflated delusion that a lot of us have too, because it ain't as easy as it look too. But in addition to that, there's so much music. Like there was some statistic I was listening to on a podcast, and they were like, if you tried to listen to all the music that was just put out in a single day, it would take you years just in a single day. And music is coming out daily, so it's like you will never keep up with all the new stuff. All you can do is catch what the algorithm throws at you, or what your friends may tell you about. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you're fighting a losing battle almost.
We need gatekeepers back.
I do think that.
Really? Okay, explain.
Yeah. We need a standard for music. We need a standard where this is the general bar. Just you, I mean, for all of us, I'm talking hip hop, I particularly, I would say this: black music needs gatekeepers in a bar, because I feel like country and rock and rolls do have a standard of like, you're not getting into this studio or on this show unless you're to this standard of being able to play the guitar or the bass or the drums or whatever it may be. But us on our side, we got people making songs called fart. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should be a standard. You know,
Okay, so does that? But do we take that back to?
we got Jacquees. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But,
I mean, that
but
should be a standard.
are we blaming that on social media, or can we blame that on
Like a gatekeepers.
generation or a certain generation of people, because they've allowed them to enter this space and thrive?
I mean, this is a longer conversation,
Mm.
but that I have a conspiracy theory that 3 black gentlemen messed up hip hop and R&B for the foreseeable future. And I have a whole concept of like doing a Bill and Ted movie where you go back and like try to stop them from ruining black music. But it's 3 people.
You want to divulge a name?
Oh, the 3 people? I'll tell you the 3 people's names: Puff Daddy, Master P, Birdman. Those are my 3 people.
Wow.
Those are the 3 direct people.
Yo.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I
I
had a
can't.
concept of redoing. It was gonna be me and Javon had wrote a sketch for Shark Tank, but it was like them 3. And Suge Knight was in jail. Like, you know, you like all the different sharks, but Suge Knight was on a TV because he was in jail, still trying to get people deals. So like, it was gonna be all 4 of them up on stage trying to still give deals out. You know. But they're all different ways. You know, Master P gave the thing of, I could just put any bullshit out, and over time, if I could just keep assembly lining this shit out, it will just something to pop. Y'all remember Funky Finger Productions from In Living Color?
Yeah.
That's Master P.
Wow.
But one of them stuck. Like, he got something to pop.
Mm.
Okay.
Think about all his other ventures. Remember, he had gas stations. He had not focusing on one business thing. He had a clothing line. He got oodles and noodles now. He got Issey Miyake shoes. He got all kind of stuff. And it's one of those things like, you know, I got everything, baby. You know, Clavel, where's my car? That's how you feel if he come around.
So okay, so then explain.
Yeah, Diddy made everyone, and Master P too. All of them suffer the same thing: is that they're the only label owners that became artists. All 3 of them, and it made it untrustworthy for the actual label to move forward, because how is your CEO of your label also an artist whose music gonna get pushed more? Previously, before that, every label head was not on music at all. They were not involved with music. But those 3 became the stars of their labels.
Damn.
And Birdman, because he's a horrible just business individual in general. But I mean, it's a longer thing, but I'm trying to get to the crux of the points. Diddy, we obviously seen what he's doing. You know, I don't like him. I ain't liked him since 97. So, but he was doing so. Then keep in mind, and it is a key moment, 1997 Grammys. Diddy won for Best Album of the Year for hip hop over Life After Death from Biggie. That's when we should have known it was something up in the cookbook. How is the Puff Daddy and the Family album beat Life After Death for Best Rap Grammy?
Because it's all about the Benjamins, baby.
Stop it, man.
I mean, low key.
Dude,
But
okay.
I feel you on that, and I was going to say, I think that a big problem, especially when it comes to R&B and hip hop, is that a lot of the label executives just are looking to exploit it. There is no real love for the craft or for the genre itself. It's just like, oh, this is what's selling. All right, we're gonna push it. And it doesn't matter if it's good. It doesn't matter if it has a message. None of that matters. It's just like, oh, people like that. Let's just keep making more of that until people stop buying it.
But that's what I mean as far as the algorithm and cranking things out. Because think about it, in the next few years, all the artists that we spoke about, you know, at the beginning of this, the Taylors, the Beyoncés, hell, you know, even Justin Bieber, you will go back and revisit their catalog.
Hmm.
You know, it's like there's nothing here that's in the last few years that make you want to go back and turn that album on after that first listen. I love Chloe Bailey.
Is there the question for y'all though? Is to interject there? Is there a pop artist that was big in the past that we don't revisit their catalog?
Okay, I want to.
Does that make sense? What I'm saying, like you just said, we'll go back and revisit their catalog. Or is there someone that's pop? You like, dang man, why was we fucking with Wilson Phillips? You know what I'm saying, or something like that.
I think
that just came to mind. Sorry, Wilson Phillips, y'all took a straight.
I was like, we're going back. Listen,
it just.
Equally, I've been listening to Justin Timberlake.
I think there are artists that were big and then aren't now, but we can't even think of them because who's playing them? You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I don't want to say that they're one-hit wonders because I don't even think some of them were. I just think that it was one of the things where I was like, this was hot that year. And ain't nobody thought about it since. You know what I'm saying? I can't even think of any right now off the top of my head.
Jordan Knight, but I do be going back to
yes,
to
that is an excellent one.
Jordan Knight doesn't count.
We will still give it to you.
He came from a bigger group. That doesn't count.
Okay.
I'm talking about somebody that came out of nowhere, and you just like, damn. And then you'd be like, damn, what happened?
3T?
No, they came from the Jacksons.
Okay.
It's always a connect. That's what I'm saying. It's always like I always tell people, like it's always a hookup. Like it's very few times where you just see an artist just come out of nowhere. You be like, God dang. Now there's some R&B in the 90s.
The bad part is now I'm over here like kind of bullshitting and thinking and stuff, and I'm like, it's still a connection. I was going to say Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, but he's got a connection to New Kids on the Block. So I'm like,
the great Maurice Starr. One of the first white man, one of the first black men is still from white men in the music industry.
You know what?
That was a moment in black history.
Okay, so think about that.
I wonder if that really is. I need to look that up at some point. Who was the first black executive to get over on a white group?
I think that was it for real.
Puff Daddy,
New Kids on the Block.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
and Marky Mark. He was over all them cats, all them Boston groups. Maurice Starr was over at one point. Like all roads read through Maurice Starr out of Boston at one point.
Yeah.
Okay, but okay. So exactly. So this leads me to a statement I made earlier. But again, this is my ADD. We're not listening. Are you listening to fart? Are you going to listen?
No, but it's still a standard, though. It's still.
Are you going to listen? That's what I'm saying. With Jacquees, Jacquees only gets played on my phone. Well, and mainly skipped because I have a blend with Vernon. Vernon be listening to that shit.
The thing, if there were gatekeepers and we had a real A&R process, even though Ice Spice would have still sucked. And they still may have tried to push her. They would have made her be in the studio for 2 years, coming up with something that would be at least palatable.
Yeah.
I.e. Foxy Brown.
But that goes back to
I.e. Little Kim.
How far like the ball has dropped. Look at the Usher tribute at the BET Awards. The best performance of that night for that tribute was Coco Jones, who has the potential to be a star. Like, she's a star. Vocally, she's amazing. It's very strong. And
you can't get caught up too much, though. I don't think if you're doing acting, you should not want to be as big as your acting is as an actual singer or vice versa. I don't think you can do both now and want to be. You can't be a master of everything now. Before you could, because you had managers, you had gatekeepers. Now people all up in your business on Instagram and stuff. So you running from set to Bel Air, you run to the studio. That's a lot.
But there's also a layer of that where if it's cultivated and crafted properly, she could be able to thrive in both of those spaces with the right people.
Oh no, I'm not saying thrive, being a superstar.
No, that's what I'm saying. She can be, but she would be able to bounce between the two, because it ain't like she just on Bel Air, like, and that's no shame. But it's not like You know what I mean? Like
It's a
it's a big
superstar first
show,
like that.
but it's still she still has enough time and space to be able to explore her music career properly if she wanted to. And hopefully she does because we vocally she's very strong. She's not whispering. She has this chocolatey voice outside of the other whisper weird things that we've been hearing.
I think at the time we live, it's not that you can't do both. But you can't do both at the same time. I feel like
That's what I mean. That's what I
simultaneously.
mean. Yes, that's what I mean.
It's because I feel
Either I'm
like
in album season or I'm gonna be in Bel Air season or whatever.
exactly.
I'm
I feel like
But
you have
but
to have a
notice how
strong
they
message in one space or the other.
but also notice how when she drops projects,
Mm.
if she's working on something, it ain't necessarily when she
Yeah.
on Bel Air. Because
Mm.
think about it right now, Bel Air, you might be in the studio if you got time, but whenever she dropped, here we go, before Bel Air came out.
Oh yeah,
Now
she
she dropped,
focused.
yeah, so and then she dropped another single. I don't really care for it. But now the show was on, but it ain't like she really got the time to push it because you on press and doing whatever else that there is. But also that goes back to having also, and I know that again, it goes back to budget, but it goes back to being able to have a solid team where this could be potentially your job and you do this and you are over here and you do that. And y'all don't need to be talking because that's your job and that's your job.
Mm.
And then I got my stylist over
But we
here.
need the gatekeepers, Dom. We need the gatekeepers.
I think
We
it's
need somebody
gatekeepers,
to be
but
like,
also,
this
but
some
also to say
bullshit.
this, it's just go back to corporate greed.
Yes,
It's
Yeah.
capitalism. All of it is capitalism.
it is.
And I would never like I never liked gatekeepers before, but now as I get older and understand the structure of music more, and like, oh wow, those gatekeepers did block a lot of bullshit for coming out too, though. Even though even though they were about profit, it was still like, dang, we would have got Ice Spice if it was gatekeepers back in the day.
Yeah. But I think how can I
And I'm
put
gonna
this?
quit picking on Ice Spice. I'm gonna pick on a man in a minute.
Because I mean, because clearly you I mean, but my thing is this: it's not like unwarranted. It'd be one thing if
Yeah.
it was like there was some reason for us to be like, no. She
No.
anyway.
You're right.
I feel like what am I trying to say here? I feel I kind of touched on this already. It's like there was a point in time where label executives were really just all about music. You know what I'm saying it was about a long game, and and like you said, capitalism. Everybody wants that
a farm
money. They
system.
want,
If anybody knows about sports, CJ, like back in the day when you were in baseball, they put you in the minor league team and they let you grow and let you they ain't put you right into the pros. You went into
Right.
double A, then triple A, then you got to go to the big leagues. You
Mhm.
had to do all those different things. Like, think about how many artists we found out about. And you're like, oh dang, they sung backup for Luther for 5 years. They were doing demos for Al B. Sure for 3 years. So it was though, instead of like they just show up and you like, okay, where you even
Come from.
But
see, that goes back to this takes me back to like the whole payola thing. And when you talk about people that's cute, when you were saying people look alike. So the person I wanted to bring to the forefront in the chopping block is Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso, no matter what you played on fucking Spotify, no matter what that station was, that fucking song would come on. It did not matter what genre of music you were listening to. I felt like I was going crazy. And then I started seeing tweets about it. And then Forbes was accusing Spotify of like her execs of payola to like Spotify. There's like a whole thread about it and different articles that are like, they felt like Sabrina Carpenter came out of nowhere, and now this song is supposed to be the song of the summer, and it was a terrible song.
See,
and so when you talk
they've
about,
been doing that though, Dom. They've been doing that.
I know, but it hasn't for a long time. It hasn't been as in our face.
Got you.
As what we're used to. Like I think I think about 2000 to be exact. And I came to LA, and the main songs that were playing, then it trickled down to like the Midwest. Out here was fucking Peaches and Cream and Ray J's Wait a Minute. And everywhere, every time we got in the car, those two songs were playing. And then I came home and those fucking two songs were playing everywhere. And I was like, okay. Think about when J-Lo dropped Love Don't Cost a Thing. That's how in your face it was. That's how it felt with Sabrina Carpenter this summer. Cute girl, you know, but mediocre vocals, whispering, all of that shit. We over that. And so I'm just wondering if there's going to be some sort of change, and maybe kind of getting back to basics regarding the industry and music, because you see how people gravitated toward, you know, like certain songs, certain vocalists. But then I don't know if it's just because we have TikTok and people are just looking for that 60-second clip of whatever, which could also be the downfall for people. Because think about What's the Cat, where the sound went viral. And then everybody went to the concert and nobody knew the words to any of his songs.
That's a lot of people now.
Yeah, it was
some Island Boys.
It wasn't an Island Boy. It was damn. He had his album cover it was like he had on like a Rick James wig and it had devil horns. I'm gonna look it up.
So people just knew a snippet of it, but they didn't know his whole song. Damn.
Yep.
Well, see, that's a problem. That's people being greedy, and this is no shade to our own St. Louis's own Sexy Red, but someone pushed her out on tour, like we're trying to do these stadiums, and it was not nowhere in the capability that she should have been able to be trying to push for stadium level tour at this point.
Absolutely.
And that's somebody for a camp being greedy.
No, and I think that's kind of like been my big thing. Like if you watch the award shows lately, like nobody has stage presence. They get up there and they're just there, and it's just like nobody trained you. What are we doing? You know, it's depressing.
But this is the thing: is that over time, those artists that do have stage presence will start to outshine and have longevity over time, and they'll be able to have this. There's got to be trust the process, and no one ain't gonna pop and be a slower roll. Y'all remember when when was this, about maybe 10 years ago, when Music Soul Child tried to do that thing, The Hustle?
Yes.
And remember, he was like, it was The Hustle. Go, it's HUSEL if you want to look it up. He tried to change his moniker to this like auto-tune style, like R&B, because it was about 2011, maybe 2012.
That sounds about right. Yeah, it's like he
was like nobody was buying his music, so he wanted to change to do an auto-tune only album. It's called The Hustle.
And the face you made is the face everyone made when it dropped. Like,
but you know,
why?
okay.
And the thing is though, is that he just has to understand and know, I'm selling out 5,000 every city. People are going to come out. I'm not going to be big as insert R&B artist that is of this time. That time, I have a consistent fan base, but some people get tired of that, or maybe their money is not as long as they're like, well, damn. I mean, I got 3-4 kids now. 5,000 a show used to do fine, you know, for me to have in my shows. Now I need more, so I'm gonna put this hustle on, and it's literally called The Hustle. And like he did a whole auto tune album,
which is so interesting because I'm still processing that, but it's also, it speaks to just it's the way of life now that nobody makes anything of quality anymore. That's not about gatekeeping or anything. It's just that, when you think about fashion, I mean, we've always had, aspects of fashion that was considered fast, right? Like that would be the Gap and Victoria's Secret, The Limited, Macy's, Famous Bar, things like that. because everybody can't afford to buy into.
It's 2014, CJ, is when he did
Okay.
the hustle. 2014.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Hold
I'm
on, I'm
looking
gonna
for
put
it.
it in. I'm gonna put it in the comments here, the link to his interview
Okay.
about it.
Here's the here. Okay,
There
so
you go.
so
There you
when we
go.
talk about quality, is it and when we look at people as a whole, it our day to day, like, does that lack some layer of quality?
Well, you know what? I think that we live in a day and age where the idea of the capital A artist kind of isn't a thing anymore. You know, I mean, it's like there was a point in time where I feel like artists felt like they had to make a statement and say something to the world. And now I feel like a lot of people are like, let's get this money. And I'm like, that will never, those two things will never be the same.
But then you can't say that because you have Taylor Swift out here endorsing Kamala Harris.
Well, influence ain't the same as quality, though. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair to say. That's fair to say. I don't know. I think because we all here have like an undenying love of quality music. We like our fun things too, you know.
Right.
But I Daryl really doesn't. He's never listened to a Beyonce album.
I'm proudly.
Really?
Not in a bad way. It's just a thing now. Just like how people, I've never seen a Titanic either. It's just a thing that I just got to keep going, just to keep it going.
Wait, that's his Aquarius behavior.
Okay.
It really is.
I'm not like everybody else.
So, but it's also like, look,
Exactly.
Curtis,
There's no reason for this. Like, it's now an ongogoing trope.
it is. I've never listened to a Jodeci album, and
now that's blasphemous. See,
What is going on?
I am 37. What the hell did I have listening? What was I? I was a kid. I was playing with Barbies. No one has ever said to me, since we're talking about music, no one has said, oh my God, you gotta go listen to Jodeci. You gotta revisit that catalog.
But you know what, though? I've been thinking about this for a while. I feel like our generation has been losing recipes left and right because the amount of things that Gen Z does not know about musically is crazy. Like, there are kids who have never heard of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I'm like, how is that possible? What are your parents doing? And like you said, you've never heard Jodeci. Like, what were your parents doing? How?
No. It's even worse.
Barbies.
No, that's just Dom on that one. That was ridiculous. The fact that she hasn't heard Jodeci album, but no, it's even worse, CJ. Because I looked at, I was like, because it was somebody that said they hadn't heard it was Jodeci, and I was like, wow, okay, let me think about it. Did I know who the Temptations were when I was their age? Just to give a different a time's perspective. I was like, hell yeah, I knew who the Temptations were.
I might not have known their catalog, but I at least knew who they were.
I knew My Girl. I knew Just My Imagination. I knew. I mean, the new Ball of Confusion when you get deeper into the crates. But I knew 2 or 3 tracks.
Exactly.
And I'm like, So that's on the parents though, because the parents want to be young. No, that's part of the problem as well, and that's the Diddy issue. Diddy is another issue with that as well, because Diddy made niggas think they can still go to the club until they 60 years old. Yeah, and that's a whole nother aspect of life. I'm glad he getting locked up, because maybe we can all these old dudes not be in the club no more. Because no, he was the one making people think, man, you can still be up in the club at 50 something. No, you shouldn't, bruh.
You really
shouldn't be at the club at 50.
Or if you in the club at 50, which I don't really give a
you dropping off your daughter for 21st.
That's like no. It's one of them clubs that's like 40 and up.
A lounge.
Yes, that's a lounge. I'm using a little change at the jukebox.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm home at a reasonable hour.
I'm home by 11:30.
You hear me?
Yeah, no, but that's valid. And so I think that that's what I'm saying. It's like, where's the state of music going? We talked about visually how people really don't drop.
I do feel the younger kids are a little better. I think the younger kids are a little bit better. Like that in between generation is messed up. I think those kids below it, they're now like going after vinyl and like listening to like hip hop. Like my daughter's listening to all kind of stuff like that. They said in between, it's them kids is like 18 to like 28, like the 18 to 28 range. That's the lost generation there. We'll be talking about them musically. We'll be talking about them musically in the future of like we lost a whole generation musically, and that was them. Yeah. But my daughter's generation Alpha, those generation Alpha kids are getting a little bit something different, and maybe because of having older parents, maybe that you know those 18 to 28-year-old kids. I mean, let's be honest, those are some of the worst rap years if you were having a kid around 20 in the mid 2000s. Those are some of the worst years of hip hop. Yeah, 2008 is one of the worst. Lollipop was your #1 single in 2008. Look, and this is how bad 2008 was. Jay-Z won rap album of the year with one of his worst albums. Grammy for it. For the Blueprint 4 or 3 or whatever. One of the worst Jay-Z albums. Won Best Rap Grammy. That's how bad the time was.
I want to say this.
No.
I don't want to, I'm not agreeing because I always wanted to have a party where we played music from 2005.
Ooh, it's going to be a rough one. You got snap music up in there.
2010 because motherfucker write me down. Like
the South.
There's
going to be a lot of white tees up in there.
I mean, I'm okay with that because like the white the South to the chokehold. Okay, Laffy Taffy.
Look, this is not endearing. You're making my point. It's not endearing.
I don't care. But like, it would be man, this is the Travis Porter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
definitely a generational thing. I will say that because my thing is, I'm low key. I will go up for a minute on some of that. Be like, hey.
No. I will have fun. I'm on it. I'm talking about where like definitive music, where you're like, man. Like, even though they got trash music now, they do have way more artists, I feel like, or music coming out that's speaking, saying, having a message than that 05 to 09 period.
Okay, I'll give you.
That's what I mean about that. Name what is the definitive song that came out? I know that's your time in the sun, but I need one song where it's like, man, dude, like this defines 05 to 09.
Look.
I mean, I ain't finna go there with you.
Right. Oh, wait. I know what it is. It's snap your fingers. Do your stairs. You can do it all by yourself.
That was the shit though.
But it was. I'm just saying. It's like the disco moment of the 70s is all I'm saying.
Okay. I got you. I feel you on that. It was still like, candy. We talked about Temptations was doing disco, even know, ball of confusion. They was doing disco too, trying to fit along.
Yeah, but okay.
E40 got on the Snap song. That's how you know that everybody was trying to jump in on the movement.
But then it goes like there's a reset that happens at some point where things kind of level.
That is Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and Kendrick Lamar, Drake, J. Cole. They're the reset button for that next generation.
But you know what though? I'm sitting here thinking when we were talking about how our parents, hipped us to certain things. While they did hip us to it, I feel like I had to grow up before I could go back and look at it. I'd be like, oh wait, this is like I
used to hate it. He's like, man, I'm tired of Luther. I'm tired of Luther.
Okay, that was never said in my household, by the way.
I'm doing a random artist out, Dom.
I do get it because like in the 80s, I couldn't stand Sade, but when I got to about 2010, I was like, oh, I get it now. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so.
Go ahead. I was always in the Sade though. I've been in the Sade since '92.
That was not me. I did not get it until I was grown.
Lover Deluxe.
And part of me thinks, what if, although these younger generations seem clueless now, by the time they hit about 28, 30, they go, well, wait a minute, let me go back and find the more substantive music. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yep.
Do we think that we have artists, and some of the artists that we named tonight, are those going to be songs that you actually play? Or is the catalog strong and solid enough where you would play that for your kids? Not the music that your parents introduced you to. Let's focus on what has come out in the past 20 years, 20, 25
Yeah,
years.
definitely some whole bunch.
Okay, give me an artist.
Oh, I mean, you talking about just R? Are we talking about just R&B?
You can do R&B, you can do hip hop, rap, or
I mean,
whatever.
Mint Condition. I'm playing Mint Condition for my daughter. 'Cause
That
that's like
is
fully.
okay. What
Yeah,
year?
like-
20, 25
What
years.
year- When did? Okay, wait. I'll stop that.
Mint Condition was still putting out hits in the early 2000s.
I was like, okay, so let's start at 2000 and work our way
Okay.
up. Nothing in the 90s.
Okay, so nothing in the 90s. 2000s. I'm
Because
definitely.
technically, but you
I'm,
know
I'm
what?
letting I let my daughter make my daughter listen to Little Brother right now. Fonte is one of my favorite MCs of
Okay,
all time. I make her listen to that stuff.
okay.
That's for sure. I'm trying to think of some R&B. I mean, I make Jill Scott, Erica, D'Angelo,
They kind of came
Trap
out
Called
of the 90s.
Quest
I'll let it
or
slide.
Uman.
It's right on the cusp.
They said, I'll let it slide.
But you talking about they came out a whole bunch of albums.
Fucking
D'Angelo
D'Angelo
came out with an album in 2013.
That was in the 90s. Brown
Come on,
Sugar?
D'Angelo?
Yes, that
But
was in the
D'Angelo came out with an album that was dope, the Vanguard album. That came out with 2016.
Okay, I said I'll let it slide.
Jill, for sure. If you're talking about some new ones, I love this dude Devin Morrison, man.
I keep hearing about him.
I love Devin Morrison. Like, it's a good
Now we're
throwback.
turning to Mac Devin Morrison.
No,
No,
Okay.
he's a singer.
I know who you're thinking of.
No, you talking about Mark Morrison.
There.
Okay.
I just realized what you was doing. Now, I do make that is a classic though. Now, don't get it twisted. Now, that is a classic.
Yes.
I'm looking in my Sir. I love Sir.
Okay.
I'm talking about R&B. I like Sir. Layla Hathaway. You got to put her in there because she's got 3-4 different decades with great music. 80s, 90s, 2000s,
That's crazy.
2010s now.
Okay,
That's
that's
crazy.
okay. Because I know that's something that I kind of think about, you know, like when I have a kid or if I, you know, have my nieces and my nephews, like, what would I play in the car? Because I ain't playing Fraggle Rock.
I say Layla Hathaway is the best R&B female artist of our generation, period.
Okay.
Period.
Okay.
Period.
I can
And
give
I'm
you
not
that.
no disrespect to Beyonce or anybody, but I'm talking about being able to sing, and has been multiple generations.
Yeah,
Multiple.
I wouldn't say that Beyonce is an R&B artist.
Exactly.
anymore.
She's
like-
more pop. She's a pop artist.
Yeah, I was
She's
like,
been pop.
transcended that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
I'd say
but
since
Layla
B-Day,
is
she's been pop.
she is the standard. She is the standard of two multiple generations. Standard.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman can change her voice into an instrument on tracks.
Oh, definitely.
When she's doing two different voices at one time, man. Like,
we like artists that layer, you know.
yeah, Layla's up there. I mean, I like Leela James, man. I'm a Leela James guy, man. I like Leela James. I'm trying to get some more male art. I mean, it's a lot of good R&B. I mean, I like a lot of people have mixed feelings on him. Raheem Devon. I still rock with Raheem Devon stuff. I know he's real mixed. It's like a real mixed bag. I know with some people.
I just feel like there could be some songs that just don't do it for me. But how Jaheim don't do it for me either. Like
Raheem had his time. Man.
Here's the interesting thing. It's like I low-key can't stand Jaheim, but I know those songs. So if I had to go to the concert, I could pretend to sway along.
He lost the production of KG, and that's when everything kind of went to the left. KG from Naughty by Nature. That did Next, John A, all of them. That's when Jaheim's career kind of went to the left, and then maybe it's a lot to do with production. And I forgot who used to write for Jaheim. Is it RL? I think RL
did do a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, when you don't have that formula,
Which makes sense because he's singing the background vocals on that.
Exactly.
Anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Yep.
So, See how I know tracks and I don't.
Let me ask y'all this question though, since we're talking, what is an artist y'all thought was going to be bigger, and was like, dang, like it just didn't pop?
Mario.
Oh,
No, that's a real one for
that's a
real.
good one. No,
And
no,
my
no, no,
thing
no,
is-
no, no, I'm not shading you on that.
No,
But I'm like, to this day, like lots of other singers have been like, I don't understand why his career didn't pop.
Yeah, I've heard that multiple times from multiple
So
different.
I'm
women.
like, I'm with you on that one.
vocally, the kid is phenomenal. Like he's amazing. You kind of wonder if it's like this industry thing, because we know how the industry still is, like when it comes to like colorism and things like that, and him being kind of like a brown boy. If it's something to do with that,
I don't know.
no,
I have to
think
wonder
colorism
though,
is
because
more I would say colorism is more for women than men.
it
I-
happens. But think about it. I'm not trying to be funny. I ain't gonna hold you, motherfucking
So we
Tyra.
let Bobby Brown through.
But he started in a group, and that was at least that second album was Babyface. That really catapulted him. That's Babyface. I love Bobby Brown. I thought I was gonna marry Bobby Brown.
What about Joe? Joe's a dark-skinned brother too, though.
Is again.
Case. I mean, it's a ton of dark-skinned.
Okay, so these are the guys that will be on the show that you were talking about, that tours 30 cities, that sells out somewhere.
Joe be on tour by himself. No, don't do that to Joe.
No,
Joe
I
don't do
love
that.
Joe.
But Joe don't do the Silk tour. Joe don't do. Joe wouldn't be caught dead on the Silk tour.
I'm doing
Joe
it
wouldn't be caught dead
because
on the Silk tour.
no.
Don't do that to Joe.
No,
Don't do
well,
that.
John, I didn't do it. The society did it.
I know, but Joe, no. Joe would not be caught dead. He at least gonna open up for
No,
Maxwell
it's not.
at the minimum.
It's not that it's a bad thing. It's the fact that like Joe was just on tour with Tamia. Like they probably got the
Right.
shake fit or something.
But he ain't
I
doing the
said-
Silk tour.
I
That's
didn't
all I'm
say
trying to
he was doing the Chitlin circuit. But if it was Joe by himself, do you really think that Joe could sell out Shea Fits?
No,
Exactly. Where would he be? The
he
pageant.
get the pageant, and there's nothing wrong with the pageant though. I
And
don't know
there's
about
nothing wrong
that's
with
still
that.
5,000
But the
people.
reality. Look. All right. You want to do it? You want to go?
5,000
Like,
people is a lot
but
of
that's
people
just
for
the
doing 2
reality
too.
of it. But it's just like all of the people that we named are superstars. Like they are very vocally, they are great.
But then that makes me question. So, is there a point where production becomes a greater necessity than talent? You know what I mean? Because
It's a huge part of it. Look at Kelly
Because-
Rowland.
see, and that's why I have a few names when I think about it, where it's like
Yeah.
Kiki Wyatt. Why has she not become a bigger star?
Well.
Besides her being crazy,
He's a little
Right, okay, there we go. Okay.
vocally she got it, but
Yes.
she has never had like really strong
I mean,
material.
mine is Teacher Moses. Why she
Well,
didn't get
okay. So, but that goes back to when are you coming out? What quarter are you dropping in?
Mm.
Because
So
we
we
know
got
the
to roll
quarter.
out.
Yep.
But she came out 04, fall 04. That wasn't too
And
good.
she low-key's doing like a small tour for Complex.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
At the city
Well-
winery, I will be there.
But I'm saying it's a lot of it goes back to that, and it goes back to what money are they going to put into that person. Matthew Knowles is on the record saying that Kelly was a better vocalist than Beyonce. That Kelly was a victim of colorism. Kelly even said on the Terrell show that the rollout and what she did with her first album, her trying to explore shit, it was rushed. She wish she wouldn't have done it like that. But because Dilemma was such a huge hit, which also pushed back the rollout of Crazy in Love, by the way, it was just thrown together.
I see colorism in women way more than men artists, though.
But it does exist. But when we think about R&B, okay.
Okay, if we name the top
The
4
last
dudes,
big-
2 are gonna be light skinned, 2 are gonna be dark skinned.
Okay, so you want to the last big superstar is light skinned, and it's Chris Brown.
Okay, I mean, you gonna put Maxwell as Maxwell in this too?
Is Maxwell a superstar? And that's no shade to that's
We
no,
talking about R&B. We talking about R&B. Yes.
we just talking about. Okay, so are we going to say black R&B?
Maxwell can sell out Scott Trade by himself.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I've seen him do it.
Okay, no. But also, can he? Do you think he could do that today?
Yeah, he just did it.
Oh, when did he do that?
Like 2 years ago. Hey,
2
Maxwell
years ago
sells
today.
out stuff.
Well, he also dropped the album too.
No, he ain't had an album in like since Pretty
No,
Wings
what
album.
was the
Maxwell had an album in almost 10 years, Dom. That's what I'm trying to
now
tell
y'all
you.
gonna make me look.
I know. I was like, no. Okay.
Maxwell toured with no album.
I thought Maxwell dropped something more recent.
Now there is
He gonna be Enterprise
an
in October
album that
30th.
people.
Actually, he just dropped a single, "Simply Beautiful."
But
So,
he's gonna be on the 13th.
That's what it was.
It's the
Midsummer
Enterprise.
Night was 2016. That's the album that I'm thinking about.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the one. I was like,
Think
it's
about-
a
Look at
twofer.
how many tours he's doing though, Dom, with only 4 albums done, period, in his career. Like 5 albums in his career.
It's like,
No, 5, yeah. He's got 5
It's 5.
albums in his career.
it's like,
And he's got double the amount of tours.
are we not counting Unplugged?
Okay, then 6.
Okay, that sounds like 6.
6,
But ain't no real, like,
96, Dom.
Okay.
6 since 96. 6 since
No, but
96.
I don't know. Okay, so wait, here's the
That's
thing.
30 years. That's an album every 5,
So,
6
okay,
years.
so Daryl.
Yep.
I guess the scale of blackness, like where you fall. Because so I know there are people that consider you light skinned.
There's some, but I'm on that cusp, man. Depends on what part of the night you get. What's the lighting situation for me? You know what
But
I'm saying?
that's how I feel about Maxwell.
No, Maxwell's lighter than me. He's
Really?
lighter than me. Maxwell's
Okay.
actually biracial, I believe. I'm not biracial. That's part of it too. I think
Really?
his mother's like Irish or some shit.
I also really? Oh, is he?
I think Maxwell's biracial. Yeah, his dad is Puerto Rican. There we go. I'm sorry.
There
He's
it is.
Puerto Rican.
I guess you know what, but
Yeah, I know. His hair don't kink up like that. You know what I mean?
He was more brown when we were younger, but as he getting older, he definitely ain't hanging out outside as much.
No.
He was like, I'm not getting melanin.
But I'm saying, but Maxwell's an artist that can tour. This dude has toured six
Okay.
tours, only got 6 albums.
Okay, no. But also, but those
He's
albums,
working on an album every 3 months.
okay. But also the span of these albums, it's not like he leave us hanging for a long period of times.
What do you mean, Maxwell?
So, okay, the only time where it was like a long time was the one from 2000 to 2009.
That's 9 years, Don. That's a long
I know,
time.
but didn't his mom die? His mom died. Something happened. He went through some sort of tragedy, so I get it.
That's you can't name
Okay,
that many
his
artists that
mama
only
died.
have 5. And really, the unplugged one, I ain't even counting that because he just showed up at MTV and did that. So really, we talking about 5 where we had to go to the studio and actually do an album. 5 albums in 30 years, Dom. How many artists? If you've been around for 30 years, you got more than 5 albums.
I say the only other one who plays like that is Sade, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And they
got
use the same
30
producers.
But,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. That goes back to having a quality, solid body of work.
True.
Which
Right.
after the people that we talked about that are the big superstars, none of them other people doing that. Are you really going to put on espresso in 20 years?
No,
I don't think
even.
so.
Exactly. You don't even know what it is.
See,
You probably you got title, don't you?
I don't got. You know, I don't believe in streaming services. So
Okay, that's fair.
you know, I still buy MP3s.
Okay.
Same.
Well, good for you.
Yeah, I don't believe in stream because y'all Negroes one day Spotify gonna shut down and all y'all not gonna have all your music. I'm gonna have all my Aaliyah. I'm gonna have all my
And that's
R&B
fine. I'm gonna call you and get it too. We're gonna take it back to college. I got my external hard drive. It's a terabyte.
she said you're gonna LimeWire that shit.
I don't
Okay.
think I don't believe in streaming services. I just don't believe it.
But this goes back, okay, to your question, the question at hand, when you talk about people that should have made it that didn't make it. You know what I mean? Like there's a small group of people, but it does lead back to the production value. What is being put behind you, making.
I think they was
all-
pushing Mario though. He just didn't pop. They put a
I
lot
don't
of
think-
stuff out there for
no.
Mario. Like Teacher Moses, they didn't really push her like that. I mean, some artists like that. I think they pushed Mario properly. He just didn't pop.
You think?
No, I don't think it was that.
Yeah,
I think
look how many
I think-
albums and the producers
Nope.
he got and how many
Mario-
albums and shots he got.
Mario was the victim of like that third album slump, sorta, because. But also, I think a lot of times people be trying to ride. They don't put out the right singles. So with that third album, that lead single, I was like, why did y'all think this was a single? So which is why Crying Out for Me popped even more when Lil Wayne hopped on the remix. But then you still riding that out too long, and then you drop what was it, Music for Love, which a lot of people liked, but it was like, and you took too long. Same thing with A. Marie. A. Marie should have been bigger.
Yeah.
Like when One Thing came out, like the first album rollout, it was like seamless. That second album,
She lost her producer though.
Rich Harrison.
She lost them. Remember he started working with J-Lo. He started working with.
I know, but I'm talking about the rollout. So One Thing was hot and was even bigger because of hits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did you let that roll? Like, why did you let that single die down? You should have like.
No, she wrote into an album.
No. It took her too long to drop the second single. We're over it. No, it took her a long.
But you know what though? That's
took
one
a-
of the ones where it's kind of hard because my thing is sometimes I think they ride a single just to see how far it'll go up and how long it'll stay there. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just keep throwing stuff out.
People got to do the Usher 2004 2005 formula. You can't let it die down. We talked about that on the show, and then I talked to Curtis about it earlier, where you just don't, because it's a certain level of hype that you just don't want to die down.
I mean, she dropped 3 singles in 2005 at the same time that came out. She dropped 3 singles at the same time that One Thing came out in 2005.
What was the other single that she dropped at the same time?
She did Touch came out after that. Talking About It was the other single. And then Take Control.
And when you say at the same time, simultaneous.
So One Thing came out January 18, 2005. Then Touch came out in May 31st, 2005. And then the last single came out that year in September.
It's still a gap.
Oh, actually, Talking About It is on the first album. I mean, Talking About It is on Touch, but it was technically came out in 2004, but they didn't start pushing it to 2005. So 3 singles.
But it's also All I Have has no skips.
Yes, 100%.
Touch has skips.
No, Touch is not good.
Okay.
It's got 3 or 4 on there, but overall it's not a good album.
The song with her and Carl Thomas.
Yep, that song's dope. Rolling Down My Face is dope.
Yeah.
Rolling Down My Face, that sounded like that was All I Had. To be honest.
Yeah, it does sound like
that's
a
what we
leftover.
go back to.
You does Rolling Down My Face. It's like if you hear, you'd be like, "Oh, damn, is that All I Have?" You'd be like, "Damn, oh, that's on Touch."
Yeah, exactly. It should have been a single. But it go back. Think about how long Kelly wrote Motivation, and then it took her a while to come out with Lay It On Me. So that's what I mean. I'm like, okay, so what are we doing here? Same thing, like with Mario. I'm like, if I could have hired me as his, like his A&R poses person, but that's another story for another day. But
I'm gonna say that really kind of goes back to what I was saying from the very beginning. There's so many factors that kind of got
This album is actually way better than I thought. If I'm looking at the singles real quick, but keep going.
It's a good album. That's what I was
way better. I'm like, damn, I forgot about that joint.
But I'm like, a lot of things have to be in place for an artist to become a superstar. It seems as though it's not just the talent. It's not just the the rollout. It's not just the product; it's all of them. And if they don't converge, it ain't gonna hit. That's
And,
what
one
it
thing,
is.
and now, is this someone to throw in here? Do some people not utilize or take advantage of their European popularity too? Like they gotta be big in your states. Like let's say if you get your stats for your album, you see, man, you #1 in France. Why don't you just go over to France? I'm doing 10 dates in France like next month.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, some people do. I mean, going back to Kelly Rowland, her first
Kelly
album
Rowland
was
does.
huge in Europe, and she still tours in Europe.
Yep.
but then
So,
some
I
people
mean-
just like, man, I need to be big here, man. Like,
I mean, it's nice to be able to come home and think that the people appreciate you too. You know what I mean? But I'm like, there are a lot of American artists who hit harder in Europe and in like the UK and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're out there. We just
Yeah.
don't even know about them for real.
I ain't no Change Your Faces to change their lineup until I saw them when I was in London. I was like, that ain't Change Your Faces.
Nah, I didn't know that.
Me
That's just
neither.
changing. I went to this thing. It was this is 2018, no 2019. I was in London for work for like a month and a half. So I went to the O2. It was Silk.
There's a chitlin second concert.
Change Your Faces.
But you know how big the O2 is?
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. It was Change Your Faces, Jodeci, Silk, Blackstreet, Sands, Teddy Riley, and David Hollister.
So what is
Just
that?
all, it was Chauncey and them niggas. It was basically it's Blackstreet, Chauncey and them niggas. Chauncey and the other tall heavyset brother that sings on oh man, what does he sing on? I can't remember. But they was there. Cut Close was there too. Portrait. Everybody I mentioned damn near at the beginning of the show.
Right.
And then when I came on, it was like 13 artists. We came in, we missed like the first 3 or 4. Like it was just like I was like, damn, we missed the first 3 or 4. Like, damn, now they got 2 songs. Shit. No wonder we missed it.
Okay, now that we're here, now I want to say, what's up with all these girl groups coming back, missing half their members, and still determined to be on tour?
All right, so CJ, I've been thinking the same thing for the last 5 years, actually, because Jade is one of the biggest, I would say, offenders lately of this, because they came back together for their reunion with the first 3 girls. D Reed, which is the one that be on tour with Rod Stewart and like doing a lot of background stuff or whatever. She was like, you know, y'all can kind of do y'all thing. Y'all can replace me. I'm doing background stuff, a lot of these rock bands and everything. So they replaced her, but I think they were like promoting it that she was going to be there type thing or whatever. So they end up suing each other back and forth for the names. It's like a big deal right now with the Jade situation or whatever. And the thing was, though, I read an article. D Reed said that she was trying to get the group back together in the 2000s, but the real light skinned girl, she didn't want to do it because she had like a design company, interior design company. She was like, I'm good with that or whatever. And, you know, things that didn't line up. But it's the girl groups I think are more replaceable, maybe because we don't know them. For some people, we know the lead singer. Like if you don't know the lead singer, but Jade was different though because all 3 of those girls actually sing leads. But if you think about it, I'm just gonna throw a random group out. If in theory, if we just wanted to take out Athena Cage and 2 random other girls and make it Cut Close, we wouldn't really trip.
Yeah, I feel
all you need is the lead. You know what I'm saying? We got Athena Cage. That's what we needed to have Cut Close.
Okay, but with that in mind, how is Total working? Because that's the thing that does not make sense to me.
I don't understand that one because I thought that Keisha didn't want to go on tour because she just didn't have time for y'all they bullshit. But now it's Keisha and Kima on tour, but no Pam.
Apparently Pam got saved.
Yeah,
and,
Pam got
and
saved.
she's just making gospel music.
Pam don't get along because they always switch out.
And then she was like, oh, I got saved. I'm no longer gay or whatever. And I was like, oh, I didn't think that was really I was like, okay, why do we care again? But okay, did we really? But then it's like, does it work? Are we really like, do we care? Or are we still going to sing along? Are we singing Pam part?
They out here touring. I don't know how it's working.
Okay, so this leads me here. Why can't Beyonce? Why can't Kelly and Michelle go on tour with like Latavia and Latoya? Baby, I think we would still go.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
They wouldn't. They'd be at the pageant.
And I'm okay with that.
No, but I'm saying, but they're not okay with that. Is my point.
Well, they want stadium money.
They want stadium money. And if I'm Kelly, I can go do some acting shit and get paid. I'm not going on tour to be at the pageant. Same people, Latoya too. She can go act and make more money doing that instead of going there. We waiting for the big fish. I ain't going. If B ain't going, I ain't going. That's the way I would do it. If B ain't going, I ain't going.
Thank you.
Let you go check.
It's all good. No Beyonce's, no Latavia's.
All right, fine. I'm just saying it was just an idea.
Did the Supremes go on tour without Diana Ross?
Yeah.
I think they did.
Yeah, they did.
I think they did.
They replaced her, but they
They replaced her though. They didn't. Destiny Child never replaced Beyonce.
Mm.
Anyway, I just want to say thank you for coming here tonight. It's
Jodeci can't go on tour without KC. Never did happen. They'll go without JoJo.
Because he's the fucking vocals.
I'm sorry.
He's the vocals.
Right. That's my point. You can do KC.
But Michelle and Kelly and Latoya can still sing.
But you there for Beyonce.
I feel like it would work, but
they never established themselves as a group without Beyonce. That's the problem. That's the problem. I'm sorry. I know. Nobody's coming to see Otis. And there's no disrespecting them and calling them Otis and saying it. I'm just using it as pejorative. Nope. Look, they're going to be at the pageant. Dom, nobody.
Who cares? A bag is a bag.
They care. You think they want to go?
Honestly, they might not be at the pageant. They could probably do the shape. Listen, Sexy Red just did the Shape Fits.
No, she didn't. She did Scott Trade, but that's her home city.
Okay.
And she brought out 75 acts.
Here's the thing. Oh, I didn't know she did. Okay.
Yeah, she brought out like no, for real. Go on, like she brought out Gucci Mane. She brought out Boosie. She brought out like 1,000 other acts I ain't never heard of in my life. Huncho XG, Mr. Dickum Down. I don't even know some of these dudes' names. They were all in this. No, I'm saying there's a long bill of people there, and she was in her home city.
Okay. So anyway, and the reason why I say that even if they did something like Shape Fits, that
who's getting the most money in this?
Okay,
that's the next question. Because that's the next discussion they have, and if they decide to do what you're saying, Dom, who getting paid the most?
Why wouldn't Kelly get paid the most?
See, then we got issues. If I'm Latoya, I have more hits than you probably as a solo artist.
But Latoya don't.
You don't think Latoya has bigger hits than
Latoya? Torn was a big hit, but after Torn,
she's got the joint with Ludacris. That's big.
Yeah, but Brett, that's the second album. On the first album, she only came out with like 2 singles for real on the first joint.
And how many Kelly got? Kelly's got 2 too.
No, Kelly has multiple hits, in more albums.
That not the Kelly fan. I'm talking about the regular person knows 2 Kelly songs,
which are
the joint with Lil Wayne and throw me another random song. That's the only song I know from Kelly is the Lil Wayne.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have said Motivation first.
Is it Motivation the Lil Wayne one?
Motivation, I would have went with the one with Eve.
Okay.
So hold on. Hold on. I'm tripping now. Hold on. Motivation, is it the one with Lil Wayne?
Well, I'm like, was that a remix that he was on? He went on the original.
Sometimes they don't, depending on like if it's just on a regular radio station.
CJ, you thought it was 2 different songs.
I thought it was a different.
She do have 2 different songs with him. So it's
I'm
one
saying
called
all
Ice.
those artists have 5 songs between them to do solo songs.
I'm not okay.
Michelle might have more big hits gospel wise. I don't even know.
And I think she probably do. She do.
I'm just saying, there's nobody's coming to see nobody but Beyonce. And
Anyway.
and this came to the person that listens to old Beyonce solo album.
I think this is probably the conversation that made Tony decide they weren't going back on tour.
Exactly.
A mess.
This is his next day conversation, CJ. He was like, man, but we already getting like $5,000 a show, but y'all getting 15 a show with me on it. So let me go and get that 8 about y'all.
Mm.
No, and that's fair. I want to thank y'all so much for coming out here tonight, giving me your evening. This is such a really interesting conversation. I feel like we still have so much more to cover and talk about. This might need to be a second parter.
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it so much. And speaking to my fellow music enthusiasts, CJ, you got any shows coming up or what you doing?
Baby, lately it's just been wedding receptions, but I'm trying to. I'm getting my stuff together right now. I got myself my new MacBook. I'm going to try to put something together real soon, some original stuff, because I've just been sitting on songs.
Okay, I can come in town and give you a ooh or ah there.
No.
Baby,
I'm gonna have you do a voiceover. How about that?
I give you a little, like my little Kelly vibe. I can channel it real quick.
I mean, I could do a ditty for you to be like, man, change to hit that little piano right there. Bing, boom. Let me get that 15-20%.
Group
nice featuring Puff Daddy on it.
Wow. I mean, that's literally what the man did. But
100%, man. 100%.
1,000 bottles of baby oil. Like, did y'all see the picture?
No, there's a picture.
It's a picture.
Yeah, you know, take pictures of all the evidence.
I've only heard, I've not seen. I kept thinking that's like I told somebody. I was telling Stacy, I was like, that sounds like a pallet of baby oil. I'm like,
or a bunker, but it wasn't. It was like all in like a bathroom, and then like in these cabinets that was like glass cabinet. It's a lot. Now I don't know if this is photoshopped, but
it could be, but it's funny. Anything for the downfall of the diddler, man. I'm fine with it, man. Maybe we can get some stuff back right in music.
Oh, and before we get out of here, super quick, Daryl. Now, you remember when we was talking about potentially if there was a book?
Yep.
And then the sister said it wasn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they found something. They like a journal or something. They supposed to be turning into a book.
See,
and she goes through and chronicles her abuse from him and those parties and different things. And then somebody said that what site was that just reported it? It was saying that Extra TV was reporting this. Mm-hmm. That when she was sick, you remember the cause of death is pneumonia, which I told you the other day. Still weird to me how you at home with pneumonia. Her last words to somebody was like, he got me. And then next thing you know, she did.
Think about all this is because hubris. He just wouldn't pay that woman Cassie for something he knew he had to pay her for. And we would have never known about none of the baby oil. If he would just been like, you know what, here, I'm going to cut this check to you.
Yep.
And we would have never known about none of this stuff.
They told him to pay that girl and it would have never came out.
Yep. But he thought he was so much bigger.
But honestly, in hindsight, it happened. It was supposed to happen the way that it was supposed to happen. It was ordained to happen that way. And you got one less terrible person in the universe. Now to get the rest of these terrible people.
I'm gonna say, so far, I feel like it's about to be a domino effect.
Oh, it is.
I got a list. If they need to come to me, I got a whole list. We can do it like Drop Squad. If y'all remember the Drop Squad movie, we need to get some couple of the regular black folks too off on this.
Oh my God! Well, y'all, I thank y'all again so much. D Talk, tell them about the network.
Yeah, SLC Network. We got all the shows on there. I only listen to 90s music. Me and Dom, everyone needs an Aquarius. Womanology's coming back. Just Posted's on there as well. The Scenarios coming back. All different shows that we got in the network, man. It's a lot of good stuff over there. You check it out. You just Google it. You can get all the shows wherever, and you can subscribe to different ones that you like at your leisure.
Yes, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with your family and friends and your coworkers. Maybe not your coworkers, because you don't need to be in y'all business and knowing what y'all like anyway. But if you want to, I'll take the like and the share and the subscription. So with that said, we will catch y'all here next week for another episode of Whiskey Sour Libations, a conversation with your girl Dom. Peace.